Hello everyone, are you ready to get racing? Welcome to the Lausitzring. It's time for the second race weekend of the DTM season 2025. We're here in Germany at the Lausitzring and the sun is shining, bit blue skies, but it's chilly. We're excited to finally go racing again, and the leader of the championship is Jordan Pepper, the man from South Africa, our rookie, and he's 3 points ahead of the pack, and he's already sitting in the car in his Lamborghini, all ready to get qualifying. It's got to be an exciting one, especially this racetrack is tricky because it is old school. The tarmac has little grip and it's counterclockwise, so it's got to be exciting, and now we're ready to go qualifying. So let's do it. Here are your commentators. Enjoy.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Good morning, everybody. Welcome then to the Lausitzring, the second weekend of DTM 2025, and a very unusual circuit in the calendar with this part tri-oval that we use, and 2024 weather affected as well as it might be tomorrow. Kelvin van der Linde taking a race win on the Saturday in very difficult conditions, which involved stoppages along the way. Some great action all the way through the weekend last year. Kelvin van der Linde and Thomas Preining, the two race winners that we had here 12 months ago. And of course, both of them would go on, especially Kelvin, to feature in the championship battle. So much better weather so far this weekend, although it's fairly chilly here. It's only just got into double figures. It was 9 degrees about 10 minutes ago. It's just crept into 10 degrees now, but compared to last year, where qualifying was running 23, 24 degree temperatures, even though we had that rain later on in the weekend, it's much, much cooler. However, we've just had a GT Masters qualifying session, very similar cars to these, same tyres, and we did get into the 1:19s, which is what we're expecting to get into when we get into this qualifying session. Jack Aitken, who got his first ever win here at the Lausitzring, is the qualifying lap record holder with a 1:19.937. Jordan Pepper then, the championship leader after the first weekend at Oschersleben, picking up his first podium at the start of his first full season in the championship. The South African came to Germany to start his European racing career more than 10 years ago now. Won the VW Sorokoa Cup Support Series at the time to the DTM back in 2014, the year after Kelvin van der Linde won it. And he had an excellent weekend, second in both free practice sessions, second in both qualifying sessions, second in one of the races, Jordan Pepper, and he backed that up with another strong finish, fourth place in race 2 to lead the championship on 37 points. But Ayhan Güven there, you just saw the green Manthey Porsche, was the winner on day 2, making history to become the first ever Turkish driver to win in the DTM. And he is second in the championship on 34 points. Also on 34 points, Lucas Auer, who got his first win for more than 2 years with victory on the Saturday at Oschersleben. So he's on 34 points, and also on 34 points, you've just seen Jules Gounon getting ready to go. And Jules was the driver that's quickest in both of the free practice sessions yesterday. There's Maro Engel, who got one of his 7 podium finishes in 2024 at this circuit. And Maro was on the podium again in race 1 at Oschersleben. So he's not far off the championship frontrunners either. So 20 minutes of qualifying. The normal format is that they'll go out, do a couple of recce laps, come back in and let the heat soak through from the brakes and the engine into the tyres, and then they'll go out, all of them really, with about 6 or 7 minutes to go to try and squeeze a couple of quick laps in around the Lausitzring. We had some incredibly close times yesterday in the free practice sessions, with most of the field within a second of each other, and it's not the shortest lap either. It's just over 3.5 kilometres long around this anti-clockwise, pretty bumpy circuit, which uses part of the tri-oval. The venue was celebrating its 25th anniversary this year because it first opened in 2000. It was built for kart racing or IndyCar racing. The first DTM race here was meant to be in the year 2000 as well, but it was called off due to monsoon rain, and in the end it was 2001 before we got a DTM race here. Uwe Alston won the qualifying race, and Peter Dumbreck in a Mercedes won the first ever DTM race here. Mirko Bortolotti then, the leader, the winner of the championship last year, with a tricky weekend at Oschersleben. His new team, AB Sportsline, and they're car new to them. They've run Audis for such a long time, more than 2 decades, but Alps now running Lamborghinis. Mirko Bortolotti and Nicky Tim bringing their Lamborghini experience in, but they were down on top speeds by a few kilometres an hour at Oschersleben, not necessarily due to the engines, possibly due to the setup of the cars. They're still trying to work it out. It's completely new to them, the car, and certainly in terms of sprint race format. They've used a Lamborghini in the Nürburgring 24 hours before, but Mirko could only pick up a couple of 9th place finishes at Oschersleben, so that's where he is in the championship, in 9th place. But no doubt about it, they will get there as the season goes on. And there was a test here a few weeks ago at the Lausitzring in much warmer conditions, and it was a private test. Not everybody was here, but Mirko Bortolotti did top the time, so they were boosted their confidence then, but the car apparently was a different car to drive yesterday, and it was much cooler. It was quite windy yesterday as well, and it just didn't handle the car as it had a couple of weeks ago when they had that excellent test here. So again, cooler conditions here, only about 10 degrees. The track temperature is a bit warmer than that, 17 degrees. We'll see how Mirko gets on in this qualifying session. So that's the scenario. As you see, the aerial shot there, part of the tri-oval that they use here, and they start the lap on the tri-oval. They turn sharp left off it, downhill through a sequence of left and right turns at turns 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then a left at turn 5 brings them back onto the tri-oval banking. They get up to 200 kilometres an hour. They turn back off it at the end of sector 1 and then run through the infield section. There's quite a long straight at the end of sector 1 and the start of sector 2 between turns 7 and 8, and then a fiddly tight section at the last couple of corners before you get back onto the tri-oval, are the slowest 2 corners on the lap, down to 75 kilometres an hour through the penultimate turn at turn 11. But then you floor it from second gear, you go up through the gears, come flat out through the left-hander at turn 12. The circuit widens out as you go back onto the tri-oval, back onto the banking, run as close as you dare to the wall, and then it's flat out down the tri-oval on the start-finish straight to get up to a top speed of around about 255 kilometres an hour, or about 160 miles an hour. So qualifying underway. They won't really start to set the times yet, as we said. Here to talk you through the qualifying and the races this weekend. My name's Chris Hartley. I'm up here in the commentary box at the Lausitzring, right on top of a very high grandstand. You have to get a lift to get up here, but you get a great view of the circuit from up here. And alongside me, enjoying that view, it's good morning to Brian Oliver.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody from wherever you are watching us around the world. It's going to be a very interesting session here as we get ready for this, the first of 2 qualifying sessions this weekend. As already mentioned yesterday in free practice, the whole field separated by just over a second. It means that pole position today is probably going to come from the driver who sets what needs to be a near-on perfect lap at the perfect time. We had the GT Masters qualifying earlier, as already mentioned. The pole position there was set by Finn Zulauf. He was in a Powell Motorsport Lamborghini, and it was a 119.957. That was for GT Masters, identical cars, identical tyres. So that is kind of the benchmark that we're looking at here. I should think that Max Powell will be looking on. Of course, it's his team that Finn Zulauf is driving for. He'll be looking on, looking to emulate his young protege as he goes out for qualifying in this session. But it's going to be an interesting, well, I'd say probably the last 5 minutes is going to be interesting. We've got 16.5 minutes remaining. As you can see, the car's now getting wheeled back into the garage for the heat-soaked cycle, waiting for the heat that's been generated in the brakes to radiate through the rims into the tyres. And I think we might have a quiet few moments now, but then it's going to get very lively, probably in about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, you mentioned Max Powell, who had a very good second free practice yesterday. It's his home circuit, and he lives about 70 kilometres from the track. The team based there as well, family-run team, Powell Motorsports, and he the driver from Dresden, 4th yesterday in free practice 2. Jules Guenon was at the top both of the free practice times, and the quickest time at the end of free practice 2 set by Jules was a 1 minute 20.595. There's Olaf Manthey, founder of the Manthey team, who only just before the Oschersleben round celebrated his 70th birthday. We're talking about you, Olaf. So he's always involved in the team, even though he actually sold it a few years ago. And there is Torsten Schubert with a bit of head scratching to do at the start of the season with the BMWs of René Rast and Marco Wittmann, because they've had an Evo package, an upgrade to the car. But they're still struggling to get the tyres working, the tyres up to temperature quickly enough to work in qualifying. And certainly it wasn't a bad qualifying, not a great, but not a terrible qualifying performance from Marco Wittmann. But back in, what was he, 16th place in qualifying one for René Rast, the 3-time champion, even though he tried doing an extra lap to get some heat into the tyres before coming back in. He did 3 rather than 2. It didn't work, and then he had engine issues. It was just a clamp on one of the engine pipes that meant he had a lack of boost power at the start of race 1. So the car was really struggling in the straights. He was not going forwards, but backwards. And then in the end, he retired the car, but had a good race from the back of the field to finish 5th in race 2. Right, while everybody's in the pits, Verena is there too. Let's hear from her now.
And I'm here with Thomas Biermeier from Abt. So tell us, obviously it's taking a bit longer before the qualifying, before everybody gets out. What is it about the strategy? What do you guys do before you hit the racetrack?
It looks like when everybody did nearly the same strategy, did a out-in to warm up the tires, to warm up the cars. Now everybody's waiting, and I guess in 2-3 minutes everybody wants to go out.
Absolutely, yeah. And this track is old school. It's anti-clockwise. And also, I hear the tarmac has little grips. So how tricky is it?
Yeah, it will take some laps to get the peak of the tires. We guess between 8 and 9 laps the tire comes, and when we see. But it will be tight. We saw yesterday 20 cars in 1 second, so we need a perfect lap today.
And last question, your boys, how did the cars feel on the track here? Do they feel good about it?
Yesterday we struggled a little bit. Hopefully we found the reason. We did a lot of analysis, and now we see. Hopefully we have to be quicker.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Best of luck for the qualifying, and ready to go qualifying. So here are the commentators.
Thanks very much indeed. Thomas Biermeier from Abt there, and right on cue, the car's heading out onto the track. Nicky Tim had an issue with his car and sensor in free practice once. I didn't do a lot of running there. There was the forecast that there might be some rain in free practice too. There wasn't in the end yesterday, but you get to use 2 sets of used and 1 set of new tyres across the free practice sessions on a Friday. And because he thought it might rain in free practice 2, Mirko Bortolotti used his new tyres in free practice 1, got to free practice 2, the track stayed dry, and he only had very old tyres, which is why he wasn't particularly quick down at the, I think it was 21st in free practice 2. So it wasn't the ideal preparation for the Abt drivers. A couple of car updates to bring you up to speed with. One is a livery change. That is for Fabio Scherer, who had a black and red liveried Mustang for the opening round at Oschersleben. That's now a white and grey livery because of a new sponsorship that they've got with Speedlink and with Germany Airways. So that's a change of livery. And 2 changes of cars. One of them, Ricardo Feller, who's in the car that it was reported he was in at Oschersleben, but he wasn't in the end. So we all thought he was in the actual car that he won the ADAC GT Masters Championship in a few years ago, that had been brought out of essentially a museum. His dad bought it after the victory in the championship and put it on display in his Swiss car dealership. And then we thought that was the car that had come out. It was actually the sister car that he used at the opening weekend, but it is the car, Eileen, named after the Dexys Midnight Runners song, Come On Eileen, that he is racing this weekend. So change of car for Ricardo Feller in the Audi. They've upgraded the car now, they've had time to do it. It's had the Evo package put on, which it hadn't had on when it was running in GT Masters. So he is in that car now for Land Motorsport, the sole Audi that's out there, and a driver that's been on the podium here for the last 2 years running, including an excellent second place finish, if you remember 2 years ago, shadowing Mirko Bortolotti's Lamborghini all the way around the race. He was literally tucked up underneath the rear wing of Mirko all the way through the race, couldn't quite find a way past, and finished second in the end. The other car update, Brian, is the McLaren of Timo Glock, which is not the McLaren he was racing, or trying to race, at Oschersleben. They've had all sorts going on with that McLaren, trying to work out what the problem was, but in the end they've swapped the car.
Yeah, they took the car that Timo Glock had been running at Oschersleben. They went back to Woking, to McLaren HQ. They've inspected it. They've changed part of the subframe. They've stripped it down, put it back together again. Still having issues with that car. So in the end, Timo Glock has decided, in fact the team have decided, to switch to the car that was being run by Ben Durr originally last year, that was been prepared to use on the Nordschleife, and he's been running that here this weekend. It's an improvement, but he's still struggling with it. Yesterday, he was saying he's still incredibly frustrated with the car.
Yeah, said it was very nervous, and even nervous on the straights. But yeah, Ben Durr with a new McLaren for this year, a brand new McLaren, and he's been performing brilliantly. Really has stepped up with his best 2 results in the DTM, coming both at Oschersleben, particularly the 8th place finish that he had on day 2. Timo Glock's car was a bit of a nightmare, as Brian has said. They took it back to the factory in Woking, changed the rear subframe. Had a test here at the Lausitzring, still wasn't happy with the car. They had special permission to swap cars. Ben got into Timo's car and went immediately half a second a lap slower. Timo went into Ben's car and immediately went half a second quicker, which confirmed there was definitely some underlying issue with the car. So he's in Ben Durr's old car from last year now, having started the season at Oschersleben in Clement Schmidt's race car from 2024. But looked improved, but still difficult yesterday for Timo. But we spoke to him yesterday in the paddock, and it was very full of praise for the team and the job they'd done in working hard to get the car out there and get the car sorted. It was not the work of a moment. Right, it's Tom Callender, a 17-year-old, youngest ever driver in the championship. And in the Landgraf Mercedes, a super slow-mo of him, looking great in that car behind the wheel. And the GT Masters champion from last year, still, of course, finding his feet in this ultra-competitive field. Ben Durr is quickest at the moment, but we haven't got the times flying yet. We're only in the 125s. We should be at least in the 120s. And possibly, we think, getting into the 1:19s and going for that lap record with this new compounded tyre that we've got, Brian, which is quick, but also sustainable.
It is. It's another development from the ADAC sustainable tyres to go with synthetic fuel that we're using this year as well, all the while looking at the environment and how we can be contributing in any way we can, or not adding to any issues to the environment. So the car's very much all out on track at the moment. Every single car out on track. We were sat looking at an empty track. Now we're looking at a full track. The one theme that seems to be when you talk to the drivers is how much the cars and the track seems to change between sessions. It seems that no 2 sessions are the same for the drivers. We've got the trucks that are on with us this weekend as well, the European Truck Grand Prix, which is great to watch, but they're running a completely different brand and a different kind of rubber on the trucks to what we are running in DTM and in GT Masters. So there's a different compound of rubber on the surface as well, which may well affect the handling. It might be one of the reasons why the cars are changing so much between sessions. The only consistent was yesterday that Jules Gounon was the quickest of both the free practice sessions, which is quite unusual to see on a DTM weekend. But now starting to turn the heat up a little bit. Ian Nguyen with a 1:23.184, still probably about maybe 3 seconds, maybe a bit more from what we expected. Tom Callender is the quickest in Sector 1 at the moment. So the pace starting to increase as the heat starts to build in the tyres. With the low ambient temperature, we've dropped to 9.8 degrees centigrade. So temperature's actually dropped
back a bit
since we went on
half a
air.
degree.
So getting the heat into the tyres, as there's Timo Glock just getting out of the way and finding a bit of space himself. But with the temperature dropping, I think just getting the heat into the tyres at the moment is the first challenge.
Yeah, well, they've certainly got out a bit earlier than they did at Oschersleben, haven't they, to circulate for perhaps an extra lap to get that heat into the tyres. Saw Ian Nguyen having to back off a bit there to get around Timo Glock. He's quickest at the moment, but only a 1:23.4. Yesterday, in free practice 2, just over 0.6 of a second, covered the top 20. So expect this to be quick. Ben Green, one of our onboard camera operators this weekend, he can do everything, operate an onboard camera, drive a car very quickly. He was, of course, on pole position on debut at Oschersleben, but unfortunately fell foul of new rules and was slightly, and I mean slightly underweight, 6.5 kilograms underweight, which didn't really make much difference at all to his times. The reason was, just to quickly go into it, previously, if you carried an onboard camera, the cameras weigh 9 kilograms, you could take 9 kilograms of weight off your car to make up for the extra weight of the camera you were carrying. This year, the rule changed that you didn't take any weight off if you carried it on board, but everybody that was not carrying it on board, they have to add 9 kilograms onto their car. Ben didn't have it on board last time, and the team forgot to, or misinterpreted the rules, forgot about the rule and forgot to add the weight on. So having thought he was going to start on pole position, having thought he was going to be the first rookie to get pole on debut since Liam Lawson at Monza in 2021, he ended up at the back of the grid. And the back of the grid at Oschersleben is not a nice place to be, difficult to come through from there. Well, Lucas Auer is going well at the moment, 1:21.016. He's done the absolute best first sector. Ben Durr has done the absolute best second sector and is slightly ahead on the lap. So we're going to start to get into the 120s now. Tom Callender is the first into the 120s, 1:20.790. Going to have to go quicker than that to get pole position, though, that's for sure. There's a 1:20.7 for Durr in the McLaren. And here comes Lugi, who got his first ever win. And it was also his first ever podium in the DTM here at the Lausitzring. He loves this circuit. That was back in 2016. That's a 1:20.4 for Lugi. He's had 3 wins here. No driver on the grid currently has had more wins at this circuit than Lucas Auer with the 3 victories that he's had. Ben Green has now done the absolute best middle sector. He wasn't up there at all really in the times yesterday in free practice, but Ben in the 296 Ferrari pushing on and goes quickest for now with a 1:20.373. One of his teammates, Jack Aitken, has been a winner here as well 2 years ago. Very, very hot conditions, got his first pole and first victory in the DTM here. So we know the Ferrari should be quick. And here comes the Lamborghini of Max Powell, which, as I say, was 4th quickest yesterday in free practice too. And he goes 7th. But Brian, Lucas Auer's on another hot push lap here. He's down to 2nd place behind Ben Green, but an absolute best through sector 1 and through sector 2.
And he was looking very, very rapid yesterday as well. This could be a provisional pole position, but hold on to your hats. We've got 3 3/4 minutes of this session remaining. We're going to see potentially a lot of change here. Lots of purples popping up, but Auer quickest in sector 1, sector 2. So we're going to wait for him to come into the final part of the final sector and cross the line. Here he comes now out onto the tri-oval. It'll be foot flat to the floor as he goes onto the pit straight to cross the line. This is surely going to be a new pole position. So stops the clock at 1:19.827. So Lucas Auer the first into the 19s.
And a new lap record. So Lucas Auer 1:19.827 ahead of him. Thomas Preining had gone quickest for 10 seconds or so. So it's Austrian drivers first and second at the moment. There's nearly half a second between them. Jack Aitken is running a bit out of kilter with the others. Maro Engel likewise. Maro is 23rd, Jack is 24th, but they're still to produce their best. So don't rule them out yet. Ben Green goes 3rd quickest with his latest lap in the Ferrari. Jordan Pepper, the championship leader, is 4th. Fabio Scherer doing a good job in the Ford Mustang, is in 5th place. Maurice Schuring is 6th in the Porsche as well, the Manthey Junior. René Rast is on a personal best lap here, but back in 22nd place at the moment. It was 2/10 off through the first sector, through the second sector, but it's not look too bad a lap this from René Rast, as Ben Durr does an absolute best in the middle sector. And here comes René Rast. Well, that puts him 2nd. That's more like it. So René Rast goes provisionally onto the front row of the grid, but there's a long way to go yet. And Ben Durr is the next one to watch as he comes through across the start-finish line and goes 4th quickest. Fantastic.
Brilliant stuff from Ben Durr. He's been getting better and better every time we've seen him. Jack Aitken is on a personal best personal best lap. He needs to be, because he's last at the moment in 24th place. So Jack Aitken will get there in the end. In the final sector, final part of sector 3, out of turn 11, getting really close to the fence now. Out towards the pit straight comes Jack Aitken. This should be an improvement, but he's got to move up from 24th. Is it going to be good enough to get him to the front part of the grid? He crosses the line. It's a P6, so good job from Jack Aitken.
Ricardo Feller on a pretty good lap. Absolute best first sector. He lost half a tenth in the middle sector, but that's the shorter sector. It's this last sector that's the crucial one. Here comes the Audi. Fella's already 3rd at the moment. Looks like he gets a decent run coming out of turn 12, flat out now up to 255 kilometres an hour. Jules Gounon's just done the absolute best middle sector as well. Pole sitter last time out as Fella goes onto the front row of the grid behind Auer. So it's Auer from Fella, Engels up to 3rd. Gounon is 4th with his latest lap. And he's got time for another one as well. So he's pushing on. René Rast down to 5th. Marco Wittmann 6th, but that's good for the Schubert BMWs. Way better than they tended to qualify last year. Ingen Guwen just got to 7th. Jordan Pepper is kicking up the dust. And Jack Aitken's done the absolute best first sector. but he's lost about 1.5 tenths through the middle sector. So Aitken pushing on. He would have time for one more lap at the end of this. Let's see if he can squeeze anything out of the Ferrari to get himself a bit higher up the grid. He's 11th at the moment. I don't think he's going to challenge for the front row with this lap, but he's going to certainly give it a go. We haven't seen much of Thierry Vermeulen yet, who was quick yesterday. He pops himself up to 11th place, just ahead of his teammate. He'll be coming round now to take the line with time for another lap as well for Jack Aitken, 6th quickest with a 1:20.051.
Into the last 15 seconds of time here. So when they're on a lap, as we're looking at Tom Callender going very wide out onto the grass, gathers it all up, rejoins just in front of Rene Rast. That's a lively moment for Tom Callender there. It wouldn't have done the underside of that car a lot of good either. And there's, in fact, trailing bodywork as he bumps off the grass. So a bit of damage to the car. Tom Callender, that's not going to improve his lap time at all, is it? Checkered flag is out, so any cars that are on a hot lap at the moment can continue and the time will count. They're all avoiding that bit of bodywork that is in the middle of the track.
Looking at those that are out there, a few personal best first sectors, but nobody's absolutely lap quit, really. 2 or 3 tenths down, most of them. Lucas Auer is already on provisional pole position. He wants to absolutely make sure of it because he's only 33 thousandths ahead of Ricardo Fellow, although Ricardo has taken the flag. Maro Engel is only 62 thousandths down, but he's not had a great first sector. Lucas Auer comes through, and it's another decent lap, 1:19.975. That would have been good enough for 4th place as it stands. Maurice Schuring is on a personal best lap to try and get up from 19th place. I don't think he's going to threaten Lucas Auer's pole position, though. Through comes Morris, and that is an improvement up to 16th place for him. We haven't really seen much of Mirko Bortolotti since the start of the session. He's back in 14th. His teammate Nicky Tim is trying to get himself up the order as well from 18th place at the moment. Needs to really get into the low 120s to get up into the top 10. Can he do that? I don't think so. No, 120.7 back in 18th place. A really disappointing qualifying session for the AB team and those Lamborghinis. But a great qualifying session for Lucas Auer, who has picked up his 14th career pole position. And he's going to be picking up another 3 championship points as a result of that as well. So Lucas Auer will now move on to 37 points with Jordan Pepper, and he's got the race win as well. Jordan hasn't. If you're tied on points with somebody else, whoever's got the most wins goes above the other, and with 1 win, Lucas Auer, I reckon, is the new championship leader. 3 points for qualifying, 37 points, the same as Jordan Pepper, but he's got the race win. Ricardo Fellow will pick up 2 points for qualifying, an excellent second with Land Motorsport, and well, the old car still works well, doesn't it? At 3rd place, Mr. Consistent, Maro Engel picks up a championship point as well. The driver 6th in the standings. Remember, the top 3 finishers from the previous race in the race itself have to carry success ballast, not in qualifying. So Anjan Guwen will have 20 kilograms of success ballast as the winner last time out. Jules Gunon will have 10, and Thomas Preining will have 5. But they're not right at the sharp end anyway. Lucas Auer, pole position. Ricardo Feller, just 33 thousandths of a second behind. He always goes well here. Maro Engel 3rd. Jules Gunon in 4th place will be a threat as well, just over a 10th behind. Rene Rast, I think, will be delighted with 5th place, given how qualifying has tended to go for the last 12 months or so. Jack Aitken in 6th, and then Marco Wittmann, Anjan Guwen, Thomas Preining, and Ben Durr, who gets his best ever qualifying, his first top 10 in qualifying for Ben Durr. The top 10 have to start the race with the new tyre on which they qualified as well. That's worth bearing in mind. Ben Green 11th, Thierry Vermeulen 12th, Luca Engstler 13th, the reigning champion Mirko Bortolotti 14th, the championship leader Jordan Pepper back in 15th, and Maurice Schuring 16th, Max Powell 17th, Nicky Tim 18th, Fabio Scherer and Arjun Maini in the Mustangs 19th and 20th, Timo Glock back in 21st, Tom Callender ahead of the 2 Astons of Magnus and Beat, who are 23rd and 24th. So there he is, Lucas Auer, a very valuable 3 points. They will all add up at the end of the season. Mr. Cool and Calm, he's said ahead of this weekend, the team at Landgraf have great harmony. They all get on well, and they're performing brilliantly. Let's get some reaction to qualifying then with Verena.
And I'm here with Ricardo Feller. Well done, P2. So in Oschersleben, the start wasn't all that exciting. So now coming from P2 here at the Lausitzring, what are you going to make out of it for the race?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm super happy that we are here. Starting from the front row, obviously, is is good. The guys are doing a really good job. They are practicing a lot of pit stop practice, and yeah, I think it could be a good race today. So let's see, yeah, where we are after the start. But for sure, the goal is to fight for the victory.
Absolutely. And Lausitzring is an old school track, counterclockwise. What does it feel like out there? Do you like this track?
Yeah, it's cool. I always enjoy yeah, coming to this track because actually it's a lot of slow speed corners, but they are so tight and the line has to be perfect. So it's quite cool to drive it. The car was working well today, so then you enjoy it even a bit more. So yeah, all good.
All right, well, see you later. Thank you so much, Ricardo. Back to you.
Thanks very much. Yeah, great to see Ricardo and Land Motorsport, who've dominated GT Masters racing for the last 3 seasons in terms of championship titles there. They come into DTM, the old team back together with whom Ricardo raced and succeeded and won the championship in GT Masters. And a great story, that, isn't it, Brian, to get that car together, get it essentially out of a museum and back in action and almost on pole position. Let's get some more from Verena.
And we've got Maro Engel. Well, good start for you in the qualifying. Going to be starting in the race in P3 in Ottersleben, the very first race weekend. You managed to get a 3rd place. So maybe today you can even improve that?
Hopefully. Team gave me a good car in qualifying. Obviously, it's very close as always. Congrats to Lucky on pole. But yeah, we'll be looking in the race to see where our opportunities are.
And I mean, the sun's shining, and is Lausitzring one of your favorite tracks? Or it's tricky, that's for sure.
It's bumpy, that's for sure. I think we'll leave it at that.
All right, well, best of luck for the race. Thank you so much. And looky, we've got Lucas Auer right here, who's still getting a hug, obviously, on his pole position. Congratulations. Hey there, how are you doing? Happy about the pole, obviously?
Yes, very happy. Mega job to my guys, and very good.
And in Ottersleben, you managed to start from pole and you got a victory. So hopefully you can repeat that today here at the Lausitzring.
That has to be the goal, but we know it will be a tough race, strategic, pit stops, everything involved, so it should be a cool race.
It's a tricky track, you just mentioned it, and also in regards to tarmac, there's a little grip. Do you really feel that?
Yes, so it's actually quite interesting with all the boat series we have here. The grip is very different, but makes the track also mega fast, so it's very interesting.
And it's very bumpy, I heard.
Oh, it is bumpy, but that's cool, it has character.
I was just going to say, you enjoy bumpy?
Yeah, 100%. No, I like old style, it's character building, and I like it.
All right. Best of luck for the race later on, and here are your commentators.
He's so laid back, isn't he, Lucas Auer? Great to hear from him, and good to see Maro Engel qualifying well as well. That was difficult for Maro last year, qualifying. Certainly the first half of the year, he only averaged 12th in qualifying in the end. That was Tom Callender losing part of his Mercedes in spectacular fashion after a bumpy exit through turn 7. But yeah, it's probably not too much of a surprise to see Lucas Auer on pole position here, because that's his 5th pole at this track. He loves the Lausitzring. He's going to be hard to beat around here, isn't he?
I have to say, whatever he's been doing over the winter as well, he needs to keep doing it, because 3 races in, 2 pole positions and a win so far. There's a nice souvenir to go on the mantelpiece for one of the marshals collecting it. But I know we've said it already, but hats off again to Ricardo Fella in what is a museum relic, coming in P2, and a great job for Maro Engel in 3rd.
Yeah, Maro Engel will be looking to finally get himself on the podium at the Lausitzring of the DTM. His best result here previously is an 8th place finish back in 2009, so he's long overdue a good results here. Ricardo Fella 2nd. Lucas Auer will start on pole position. The race starts earlier today at 12:30. That's it from the commentary box. Back to Verena.
Yep, and we're definitely looking forward to a race later on, to a very exciting race. So you don't want to miss the race in just a bit. Hold on tight, and yeah, see you later. Here are the highlights. Enjoy. Bye-bye.